crop selection, the first question you pose to the farmers is what crops are they growing? And with this question, I know you will get a list of various crops that farmers are growing, and these could be peas, wheat, potatoes, cassava, sugarcane, depending on the location of the farmers. And the next question should then be, why are you selecting them? And to this question, you will also find quite a number of responses. I know that many would say that in this area, people have been growing this for so many years. Others will give reasons it is easier to manage. The various reasons should come. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to let them participate. We need to let them mention why they selected the products that they are producing. As a trainer, you will add other aspects that should be considered. For instance, the state of one's land, the size of land, the soil quality, the natural resource base, the soil suitability for the crops and livestock, and so on and so forth. Now, in this particular area, this is where people do not take into consideration the suitability of the land, and in the ensuing discussions, you will be able to guide them, because people will ask, how do I know that my land is suitable? Encouraging them to access professional services of agricultural advisors is key in this section. Another factor to consider could be the access to non-monetary resources, e.g. the quality of seeds, the livestock, because you may find people in the same area producing the same product, but the yields are different. What tools are they using? What facilities? Do they have irrigation systems? Is a particular product labor intensive? All this should be given to them so that it triggers their planning. The environment is another aspect to consider, which includes the climate, the hazardous fauna, the infrastructure, the market access, all that. Because one should not just do a certain crop or livestock because everybody is doing. It is a key question: do I have the market? Where do I sell it? The finances, this is very, very important, because sometimes people open up a big piece of land, but along the way they find they cannot finance it to production. So one should know, am I using my savings? Do I have cash? Am I accessing loans? All that is part of preparation. And your dependencies, are you depending on loans? Are you depending on other stakeholders? Are you working in the value chain that you have to feed, or a certain step has to feed into what you're producing? So while you select the crop, in reality, what does it produce is a key question. Is it a food crop? Is it a cash crop? Is it forage? Will it grow well? This all depends on so many things. And some of the things that should be considered here is the amount of rain and moisture in the area, the soil fertility, how long does it take to grow in the field? Can it withstand the drought well, in case it is an area with drought experience? Does it work with other crops? Because this will give you information on whether you do mixed cropping or whether it has to be a standalone. How well does it cover the soil? What type of roots does it have? Does it improve the soil fertility? What inputs do I need? All this is very, very important. So crop selection and soil fertility. The saying is, nitrogen is to a plant what petrol is to a car. Nitrogen drives plant growth, which stops when plants run out of nitrogen. So it is important to consider nitrogen availability for plants, which is reflected in the dark green stems and leaves for constant growth. And this is where expert opinion may be needed, may be required, but also from experience, you find that many farmers can tell many of these. Then to the farmers, as they are selecting crops again, in this piece of land that I have, will I continue with the same crop? Will I mix other crops depending on the seasons? Which brings us to the element of monocropping. We know that monocropping depletes nitrogen from the soil, and the yield that you get in the first season may reduce in the next season, in the third season, and in the fourth season, you may almost have no yield. So the issue of good rotation to optimize the soil fertility should be emphasized when we are talking to the farmers. But besides that, also when you look and continue looking at the market trends, you may find that a single crop grown over and over in the same region, with time, the demand may go down. So as a farmer who is also an entrepreneur, they should have that flexibility and open mind to changes that will be key for them to optimize. Also, issues of soil structure are considered. We talked about what type of roots the crop you've selected will have, and you will need an expert to guide you in this area. What kind of roots does the plant I'm growing have? How is it affecting the structure? So the best option that is always emphasized is intercropping, where you can choose to have not one crop, but two or more in the same place, where one is depleting the soil fertility, the other is adding, like if you have legumes and then cereals in the same place. Over time, crop rotation has higher yields and more sustainable income than monocropping. The net income of ideal intercropping can be up to 40% higher than monocropping due to product diversification. Only monocropping will lead to decreasing yields and income over time. In conclusion, managing cropping system properly requires knowledge and skills. Choosing a crop is a matter of many factors. The success of crop rotation cultivation also requires knowledge of effective tillage and irrigation techniques.